Hi, my name is Elizabeth Clubb. I am a first-time author of a book, Maggie's Fire. The book will take you on a twisted journey. Maggie is a young girl from West Virginia. Now, she was raised in a religious cult. She tries to escape from her abusive stepfather after her mother's mysterious death. It forces Maggie to make a sudden, tragic decision that changes her life forever, which results in her forgetting what she had done, and she also blocks out her complete past. Maggie assumes the identity of someone else. Flashes of her past come back to haunt her. So travel along with Maggie while the mystery unfolds. The Mystery of the White Rose. It had been 2 years since my father's death. Things were not good between Mother and me. She had a job working at a hardware store in town. I guess I should be grateful. She was trying to supply my needs and be a good mother. She had become very distant since my father had passed. I'll be turning 15 years old tomorrow. All I desired was for my father to be there, but I have to accept that I'll never see him again until I meet him in heaven. No matter how much I told myself I didn't care about tomorrow being my birthday, I knew in my heart it was all a lie. I really did. It hurt me to know I was going to be by myself. I unexpectedly woke up to a loud sound of voices in the house. I could hear muffled laughter coming from downstairs. It was my mother and someone else. Who was she talking to, I thought. So sitting up, I could see an image of something white lying on the chair next to my bed. The smell of a floral scent filled the room. I moved closer to the chair to investigate, and I could not believe my eyes. A single white rose with a pink ribbon wrapped around the stem. A small piece of folded paper lay next to it that read, "Love you, baby girl." A part of me was filled with fearful joy. The only person in the world had ever called me baby girl was my deceased father. What does this mean, I thought. As my mind began to wander, I thought maybe my mother felt sorry for me and realized that I needed her in my life more than ever, especially today on my birthday. So overwhelmed with excitement, I ran down the steps to thank her for the beautiful white rose. But to my surprise, she asked me, "What are you holding in your hand? Where did you get that from?" Suddenly, I realized my mother had no idea where the flower came from. Not prepared to answer, I acted as if nothing was wrong, and I just went into the living room. I was confused and mystified, standing there, still holding the rose in my hand. Where did this flower come from? How did it get here? Was my mind playing tricks with me? It couldn't be, because I was standing there holding the flower in my hand. Something weird is definitely going on. Ashes to ashes. Kane struggled back into the door and handed me a square plastic box. "Here's your stupid mother's ashes," he said as he laughed. Not knowing what to expect next, I sat there completely still and numb. I just watched as Kane made his way into his bedroom. I picked up the box that my mother's ashes were in and took them into my room. I quickly hid them in the closet. I saw a glimpse of my reflection in the mirror and couldn't stop myself from smearing the lipstick over my face. Have I gone crazy? What am I doing? I opened the drawer at the sink. I saw a pair of scissors. Should I end my life? No, I can't do that, I thought. How would that honor my father and mother if I killed myself? Kane has to pay. It's all his fault. He deserves to die, not me. I could hear voices in my head saying over and over, "You can do this. You can do this." Do what? I thought. Waiting for an answer like some crazy person. Was I psychotic? I couldn't think straight. All I knew that I was trapped and I needed to set myself free. But how do I do that? Then everything became clear to me. I walked slowly toward Kane's bedroom door. His door was open, and I could see him lying there, passed out from the alcohol, still holding the bottle in his hand. The strong smell of alcohol consumed the whole room. Could I finally be free or free myself from this bondage I was in? Still hearing these voices in my head instructing me on what to do, I was walking around as if I was out of my body. I could see myself moving through the house on a mission. The voices told me exactly what to do. Go get the gas can off the front porch. Pour the gas around the bed where Cain laid. I followed all the instructions and paced around in Cain's room for a few minutes before returning to the living room. On the table in the living room, I saw a small box of matches, which I took. I pulled one match and I struck it. Mysteriously, it went out. Then I lit another match, cupping my hand around the flame as I threw it into the bedroom. The sparks from the match caused the gas to explode, causing a flash of fire, instantly consuming Cain's bedroom. I was running out the door. I could see the house being engulfed by flames. Finally, I was free from all the horror that Cain put me and my mother through. The red dress. Dreading what would be ahead of me, I could feel the tension building up inside of me. As I walked through the door, I could hear Cain's voice echoing from the kitchen. I told you to be here at 2, not 5 after, Cain said. I didn't even try to explain. I just stood there staring at the wall. His piercing voice turned into a whisper as I blocked him out. Sit down, listen up, girl. This is the way things are going to be around here, he said. I could see he was getting even angrier, so I gently sat on the sofa. He handed me a large blue satin bag. What is this, I thought. It couldn't be a present. After all, he despises me. Cain said, open it. With curious fear, my hand started shaking as I gradually opened the bag. He had that stupid smirk on his face. It's not going to bite you. Maybe this will make you look halfway decent. Lord knows you need all the help you can get, he said. I pulled out a red velvet dress with black satin buttons on the front. I rubbed my fingers over the material, which felt so soft. I had never seen this kind of fabric before. A small gold box was at the very bottom of the bag. Inside the box was an assortment of lipsticks and makeup. I knew nothing about these items since my mother never allowed these in the house. Sitting there on the sofa, staring down at the dress and makeup, I closed my eyes and just tried to drive all this from my mind. I have a job lined up for you, girl. You're going to start paying your way around here. I'll be right back in an hour. I want to see a woman, not a child, Cain said. He slammed the door behind him as he left. I was a virgin and shy, and I knew exactly what he meant. There was no way I was going to engage in the sinful things he wanted me to do. But how do I get out of it? Who do I call? I have nobody. Cain's verbal and emotional abuse was taking me over. Every thought. My whole body began to tremble out of control. I slowly put the dress on, stood in front of the mirror, ashamed of my reflection. Looking back at me was no one I knew. I tried to apply the makeup as tears filled my eyes. My heart sank, and I could feel that sinful red lipstick covering my lips. I finished combing my hair as I heard the sound of the car pulling in the driveway. I felt dirty and naked as Cain walked through the door. I could smell the strong odor of alcohol that he brought with him into the room. He grabbed me by the arm and said, turn around. He then spun me around facing him. Don't touch me, I said. Cain began slapping me across the face and then placing one hand on my throat and the other over my mouth. I couldn't hardly breathe. Strangely enough, I didn't want to live anymore. I just started squirming until finally he let me go, or I broke free. I'm not sure which. I was just thankful as I watched him walk out the door. The funeral. It all began on one cold fall day. I was standing in front of a window, watching the wind whipping through the trees as the leaves rustled and chased each other on the ground. I began to shiver as I could feel the bitter cold whispering through the cracks of the window. We had just received the news of my father's passing. My father was a most important person in my life, and now he was gone. He had suffered for so long fighting that terrible disease of leukemia. He was well known and high respected in our community here in West Virginia, serving as a supervisor, mine foreman, and a bookkeeper. A loss that I was refusing to accept. but in my heart, I knew I had no other choice. I could hear the voice of my mother echoing in the background. "Hurry up, get ready. What's taking you so long?" Standing there looking in the mirror, I saw a reflection of a shy young girl with long red hair and green eyes. It was time for me to face what the day would bring. I could feel my hands shaking as I removed my dress from the closet. My heart was pounding like a drum as tears flowed from my eyes. I cried out, "Lord, help me." I could see a glimpse of my father with a smile on his face, standing there before me. I loved him so much, and I was the apple of his eye. Staring at that black wool dress with that gray velvet collar, I knew that I had to get dressed. I sat down and slipped on those awful leather shoes that my mother had set out for me. I was wiping the tears from my face as I went out the door. I could hear people whispering, talking about my father and what a good man he was. I could hear my mother saying, "Yes, he will be missed." I felt numb and angry all at the same time. The pain and the grief consumed every part of me. I didn't know how to handle it. Was I supposed to show or hide my feelings? What would my mother think? After all, she was nothing like my father. I actually was afraid of her. And now that he was gone, what will tomorrow bring? As we went to the funeral home, I never spoke a word. What could I say? Walking in, I could smell the fragrance of flowers covering up the scent of death. I began to scan the room, and I noticed the pastor up in years as he reviewed his eulogy for my father's funeral. I saw some children playing in the foyer, oblivious to what was happening in the next room. I knew very well what pain was coming next. I walked closer to the silver casket with a display of flowers and greenery draped over the top of it. My father lay there peacefully inside. I felt a sweet spirit because I knew my father was with Jesus now and was not suffering any longer. I missed him so much. Selfishly, I wanted him back. As the pastor spoke about my father, I remembered some of the Bible verses that the pastor read. "Then the Lord God will wipe away the tears from our eyes." It gave me some peace as he finished reading the verses and ended with this prayer. I felt fear and emotionally unbalanced all at the same time. My heart was overflowing with sadness. Everyone stood as my family walked out. I was trying to hold back tears as I remembered my final goodbye to my father and the sound of him laughing at the first fish I caught, or when I fell in the water and he saved me with such fear in his eyes. So many memories flashed before me, piercing deeper into my heart. He was gone, but not forgotten. Another year had passed and school was out. When I got home one afternoon, my mother told me that she and Kane were getting married and that I needed to treat him like a father. Reality set in, and it hit me hard. Standing there looking at her sternly, she could see by the expression on my face this was never going to happen. I never spoke a word to her. I just walked away. I was confused, devastated. Holding back my tears, I could feel sadness and anxiety come over me. Just when I presumed things was getting better, it all fell apart. Everything seemed to be normal at first. They appeared to be happy newlyweds. 2 months had passed, and I could sense things were changing between them. Kane wasn't the man she thought he was. He started coming home late, smelling like liquor and smoke. This was not going to work with my mother. She did not believe in drinking or smoking. The next night I heard Kane coming into the house drunk again. He was cursing and breaking things, totally out of control. I could hear glass shattering against the walls, so I placed my pillow over my head to block out the sounds from downstairs. I could feel the panic of terror come over me as I heard my mother scream. Then she cried out, "Stop, Kane, stop!" I was so frightened as I began to run down the stairs to help her. "Are you okay?" Then I saw Kane standing there with a gun in his hand. He pointed it toward my mother and was yelling, "I'm gonna kill you." I could see the fear in her eyes as she stood helpless and frozen. She appeared to be in a trance. In my mind, I thought he could quickly kill both of us. I can't explain it, but immediately the fear left me as I saw a form that looked like a shadow walking in front of my mother. Was I imagining this? Am I going crazy? A sense of calmness surrounded me as the gun fell to the floor. Something knocked it out of his hand. Kane looked dumbfounded as he stood there gazing at the gun on the floor. The vision. I went into my bathroom to wash my face. I looked in the mirror and suddenly I could see blood dripping from the mirror. Wiping my fingers across my eyes and gazing back into the mirror, I soon realized that there was nothing there. Shaken up by the whole ordeal, I just lay across the bed and fell asleep. I don't know if I was dreaming or if my mind was playing tricks on me again. I saw the images of a small house with blue shutters. Watching myself as I moved through the house and was looking at a picture of my father and mother, which was framed and displayed on the wall. They seemed to be so happy. I could smell the alluring fragrance of roses in the air. Then a formation of hands appeared before me, reached down to lead me throughout the house. I saw a kitchen table and chairs in the room. Straight across from me was a large sitting room with a coffee table in the center. On the table was a large family Bible. Then walking toward a bedroom, I saw a red velvet dress on the bed. It was a beautiful dress with black trim. A blue satin bag was beside of it. Then abruptly I woke up. I was startled with confusion by what I had just seen. I sat up on the bed. My heart was pounding from the flashback of memories of my father and mother and the house we lived in. The vivid memory confirmed that I felt emotionally connected, as if I was there. It was the first real glimpse of my past that I'd had in years. Maybe some of my past is coming back. I sure hope so. The night of dreams made me feel exhausted, dreading going to work. It may have been a dream, but in my mind I'm saying, well, at least I'm remembering something. But these dreams and visions keep haunting me night after night. Hi, my name is Elizabeth Clubb. I am a first-time author of a book titled Maggie's Fire. Now do me a favor, folks. Go to Amazon.com and check it out. Ebooks for a limited time is $3.99. Hard copy is $19.99. Again, the title of my book is Maggie's Fire. Help me make it a bestseller. I'd appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you'll enjoy the book.